Sustainable if it will be repeated or it will be...
Okay, but what have we done? I'm just asking you, what have we done? Which exercise have we done right now? Yeah. Just what? Just playing. Just to tick-tick-tack, we clapping and then we rhythm. The rhythm tick-tick-tack, tick-tick-tock. Is it? Just playing. From this exercise now, what have you learned? Before you have said, we just play. So from this exercise, what have you done? What have you learned from this exercise? You have said, Khalid.
Yes.
First of all, we have learned the reading, but in fact, we have learned that it's more easy to understand something if it will be repeatable and it will be break down into levels.
Yeah, we can make something easy if we repeat, okay? If we repeat and doing what? Make into pieces, or in chunks, you can say it. Make in chunks. Before we have just played the game, we have just played the game. But when I ask you, what have we learned from this game? You have said that we just learned that we have to repeat while we are teaching, and also we have to make into pieces. Okay? Another question. What do you feel? How did you feel before you have managed this game? How did you feel? And now, comparing before the game and after manage the game. Yes.
Before, it was so difficult. So we did feel uncomfortable or unhappy.
Okay.
But now we feel happy.
Before you have said that it was difficult. Before it was difficult and uncomfortable. And unhappy. Is it?
Yes.
Why do you think you are uncomfortable and unhappy?
It's hard to learn that.
Hard to learn.
It was hard to learn.
Hard to learn. But after mastering, you have said,
First it is easy.
Easy. It becomes easy.
Yes.
Okay. Become easy and
comfortable.
and you feel comfortable. And you feel comfortable and what? And happy. Yeah. You feel comfortable and happy. How this, as we have said before, that we can make it easy, but just by doing what?
By repeating several times.
Yeah, by repeating into several times, and even sometimes go very slowly. Is it?
Yes.
But also to make into pieces. To make into pieces. We just start with the level 1. Okay? After mastering level 1 and make sure everyone have mastered level 1, then we go to level 2 and we make sure everyone have mastered level 2, then we go to level 3 and we just compile the whole and everyone have mastered it. Okay? So just by making into small pieces. Okay? So the question is now, another question, how is this relevant to teaching? What we have done, how is it going to be relevant to teaching? You are as a tutor in the college and you teach the students or the learners, or you are a facilitator, whatever. What do you think? Why do you think this is going to be relevant to teaching? How is it going to be relevant to teaching? Yes?
It relates to our subjects that we teach in the class. For example, we can teach a subject which is difficult.
Yes.
So the students cannot understand.
Yes.
So you have to divide into some pieces.
Okay.
And starting from the, you have to start from the simple.
Exactly.
And then slowly
Exactly.
up to the complex one.
Thank you very much. As Fadil have said, why you are Ramadan?
Yes.
I'm very sorry. Very sorry for that. Okay. As the Ramadan have said, while we are in the classroom, we are facilitate or we are teaching. Okay, we have to start with the simple. Okay, then if the concept is big, we should do what? We should break into small pieces, but also we have to repeat. Start with the simple, do in small pieces, but then we have to repeat the concept. Okay? This will enable the student to understand. Are we together? So, in fact, this is the trap most of the time. We as a teachers or facilitator, we trap in, or we fall in this trap. Means that we imagine that what we see simple, also our learners will perceive it the same way as we think. Am I correct?
Yes.
Sometimes you think that the concept is very easy, and you perceive that, or you think that also students, they think it is easy for them. This is not correct. This is not correct. Learners will perceive it in the different way. So we keep thinking our students or learners cannot understand such a simple thing. As I've started before, I just say tick tock, tick tock, tick 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 tock, tick. And I say, oh, this is difficult. But for me, it is easy. Okay? And sometimes I can just think that, why they just think it is difficult? This is such a simple thing. Why they don't understand? Sometimes even we can just tell the student that, kwa nini hamuelewi hichi kitu chenyewe ni kidogo, yani hii concept, this concept is very easy, just write. Don't we do that in the class? A lot of times. A lot of times we do such kind of thing, which is not correct. Which is not
correct.
Of course, for you it is easy because you understand. Maybe you have taught that concept several times. Even you, when you are teaching this concept, if it is for the first time, it was difficult. Is it?
Yes.
But due to repetition, you teach several times with the different classes, different time, different learners. You see now it is easy for you because you are repeating. Is it?
Yes.
So we are not supposed to take things for granted because just you know, then even students, they have to know. This is such a simple thing. And at that time when we are saying that, we frown even our face. Why don't you understand such a simple concept? Okay? So, and we are keeping moving to finish our lesson without considering that the student have understood. We are not certain that they have understood. We are just want to finish what? The syllabus or the curriculum or the lesson of that day. Okay? So, we as a teacher, we are supposed to do what? To make sure that they have understood. So once, one of the main keys to avoid is to avoid the trap of just thinking that you understand and the student, they must understand. This is the trap for us as a teacher. And while you are seeing that it is also, what I mean, it is complicated to our learners. no matter how simple you see the content it is, you see you have to divide it into small pieces and move smoothly while then between them, and offer and after the other, being satisfied yourself that each pieces have well mastered and understood by learners. What I mean, what I've said before, that you understand the concept, but the learner have not. Okay, but we are trapped, or we fall in the trap that we see that this is simple, and we imagine also for student is simple. This is not the truth. So we have to avoid it, to fall in this trap by just thinking that also students they should understand, also the learners they should understand, they must understand. No. Okay, so you have to satisfy yourself and to be certain that the student, individual, have understood. Individual and not collective. Okay? Individual, I'm saying what? Individual. Means each learner in your class should understand. And you should satisfy yourself that everyone have understood. By doing what? By dividing into small pieces and move smoothly between the parts after being made into pieces. So you move smoothly, and also you have to repeat. So we have finished, and congratulations, we have finished the domain known as sequencing domain. Now we go and see what we have done. Okay? Can you see here?
Yes.
This is the domain sequencing. Okay? And the domain, it has 3 principles. It has structuring and sequencing. This is the first principle. It has repetition without boredom, the second principle. And it has linking and summarizing, the third principle. Now, I'm going to give you the cards of the domain, and I want to give you a task. So let's do into group 1 and group 2. There's 3 principles, but the third principle we shall share. Or you can just do Khalid and Ganil, principle number 1, structuring and sequencing. You see? And the repetition without boredom. So principle number 1 and number 2. The second group, you'll do the same repetition without boredom and linking and summarizing. Okay? Have you seen them? As you see, the first framework, sequencing activities within SEE. Structuring and sequencing, this is the first principle. The second, repetition without boredom. This we are going to discuss, Khalid and Ganil. Zanana and Ramadan, you'll do the same repetition without boredom and linking and summarizing. So the task is discuss the domain sequencing and relate to the tic-tac. Just write down. Okay? Discuss S domain and relate to the tic-tac, the game we did. Okay? Then
Discuss S domain.
yeah, S domain means sequencing.
Oh.
S
Stands for
sequencing. discuss the S domain. This is the S domain. We call it as the S domain, means what? Sequencing. Okay? And I've said that it has 3 principles. Those are the principles which I've given in the card. The principle, as you see, structuring and sequencing. Look at your card. Okay? Then repetition without boredom. Okay? Then we have linking and summarize. Okay? So discuss S domain, that means discuss sequencing and relate it to the tic-tac. That means this one relate to the tic-tac. Okay? The second question is discuss the principle I given in your card, not each, but I have given you 2 principles, and here also I've given them 2 principles. Okay? So the principle which I gave you, discuss and what was done in the game to apply this principle. Have you understood? What was done to the game to apply this principle? Just relate the game and the principle. You have understood now? Okay. So 2 questions. I give you 5 minutes, please. Have you got the question? Oh. How do you relate sequencing and tic-tac? And also, how do you relate the principles? The principles of the sequencing with the tic-tac. Have you understood this one? You just write down your concept and you explain to me. Are you ready?
We did not write it, but we are discussing it.
Structuring and sequencing.
This one is structured from the This is the same as dividing into tic-tac. This one the same as dividing the tic-tac into some levels, which we did understand them better than the whole one. Let's utilize the technique of dividing it.
Yeah, that's
also,
right. That's right.
But also, move gradually in the flow in this transition between activities. This is where we started the levels. We started with
What in what? Repetition. Okay.
smooth.
What's your opinion? I have said that. Incorporate device by drawing techniques. Repeating wordings instead of
Then another.
counting drawings. Okay.
Go to another.
As you see in tic-tac, just play. Tic-tac, 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 tic-tac. That was what? The rhythm. And it was enjoyable technique. So when you're in the classroom, you have to make sure that you come up with the techniques, enjoyable techniques, okay, and repeating what it was techniques, which can enable the student to understand very well. So in tic-tac we use that, we use the rhythms, even patterns of playing like this. Understand? Yeah. Then activate learners in repetition through different ways, of course, either by listening or drawing, or by saying, or by listening, or by what? Practicing. And we practice, okay, but also we play. So you may just relate this with the classroom. For instance, you can just tell your student to say a phrase in a rhythm way. For instance, in chemistry, when you learn what we call a table of what? Specific, periodic table, yeah. there is a rhythm people are trying to make. So that's the also we can say, and just trying to make is a repetition, and they are just writing every time, and you come up with that abbreviation. It also motivate and appreciate any kind of repetition they want us. When they're saying, you just say, okay, that's good, understand? And then we come to summarize as we did. We just do all levels, level 1, level 2, level 3, and then we do all of them. So we just link part 1, part 2. So the same is in class. Understand? The concept should be linked, and you should link one piece to another smoothly. When you teach you a concept, they should be in linking way. Understand? Okay, let us now listen to you. Okay? Group number 1, structuring and sequencing. How can we relate this?
Yes, we can say that in structuring and sequencing, we can relate the step of structuring and sequencing with the tick-tick-tack-tack, tick-tick-tock-tock. This is example in 28 utilize different techniques to ensure the content is well structured from the learner's perspective and activate them to view it. This is like where we divided the word tick-tick-tack-tack into parts or say levels, and also we are activated to know them and to repeat them there in a game. When we say move gradually within the day flow and use smooth transition between activities, an example of it is like when we are moving from levels. Let's say from level 1 where we practice tick-tick-tack-tack, tick-tick-tock-tock, and level 2 we practice from tick-tick-tack-tack to tick-tick-tock to tick-tick-tock, and level 3 we practice from tick-tick-tack-tack to tick-tock. That's it's an example for gradual flow or smooth transition.
Thank you very much.
Also, the same anytime wise, it's like in the game when you are giving us instruction to practice, not like we wanted, but like you wanted us to do, just in a specific time. That's now do this, after that now do this. That's a time management.
Yes. So, is it clear for us? We have seen that structuring and sequencing. This is the first principle. In structuring and sequencing, as we have said that before, we have said it is a complex and it is impossible to perform, is it?
Yes.
But it becomes very easy, and you have already mastered to the extent that you create different ways to perform. This process is called structuring and sequencing. You just structure. After seeing this is very difficult, then we do what? We are trying to make into level. So we structure this, and then we practice. We see it is easy. That is the structuring. We just put into pieces. So this is also applicable in the classroom. When you see the concept is difficult, try to do what? To break down. And this process, it's called the structuring and sequencing. Structure has to do with the breaking into logical pieces, and sequencing build it up again in level part by part. So you get them to the learned pieces first, then you build it into whole structure again, and sequencing. The second part is just to come to your principle. So we have seen that we break down, and then we just do the whole. So just to break down, we say structuring, and then we come level 1, level 2, level 3 in sequencing. You understand the meaning of sequence?
Yes.
So that's all about structuring and sequencing. Okay? And also you have to manage time. Don't just do without managing your time. Okay, repetition without boredom.
Repetition without boredom. We can relate with our tick-tick, tack-tack, tick-tick, talk-talk. Here in number 31, incorporate diverse enjoyable techniques in repeating wordings and statements. For example, in our tick-tick, we used rhythms in practicing and
even patterns,
yeah, even patterns.
Yeah. Okay, let me explain this. Repetition without boredom. When we say repetition without boredom, you have to repeat without making student or learners bored.
Yes.
You may repeat several times, but it doesn't have any effect. So you have to use this repetition, and repetition, it should be what? Without boredom. Don't bore your learners in the class. Okay? So incorporate diversified, enjoyable techniques in repeating. You have to use different, diversifying what? Techniques. And they should be enjoyable. You see here we just do tick, tick, tack, tack. Very enjoyable.
Yes.
It doesn't bore at all. And you want even Ramadhani, he wanted to play. No, let me also play because it is enjoyable.
Yes.
Okay? And you can use the rhythm, it depends. You can use patterns in repetitions, you can use even drawings. So different techniques, you have to use different techniques. So the second part is repetition in a non-boring way. We experience linking and summarizing, that's another one. So in the repetition without boredom, also activate learners in repetition through different ways. Okay? Linking and summarizing.
Linking and summarizing, when we relate with our tick-tick, talk-talk, here it relates with dividing, taking the first step, our first stage, second, and the third one, then link them, then combine them together.
Excellent. We just reconstructed the whole game again. Okay, so we just link one part, the second part, and the third part, and then we summarize. Okay, so I think we have seen the importance of the sequencing and the sequence domain. Sequencing is not just the sequencing of activities, but it's building on the engagement to leave impact. Make sure that while you are doing this domain sequencing, by following the principle structuring and sequencing, repetition without boredom, linking and summarizing, make sure you leave the impact. You leave the impact to the learners. That is the main key. Okay? Not just doing repetition, rhythm or whatever, but you have to make sure that you leave, you build on the engagement to leave impact. You have just seen the intact and you have just seen how they relate with the principle of the domain sequencing. As we have said that there are 3 domains: structuring and sequencing, repetition without boredom, linking and summarizing. Structuring, as we have said, this refers to structuring the main content into something that can be easily memorized. And also the learning event is a scenario of active experience components. So designing the component in relation to each other along the trip will help the participant move gradually between pieces and connect them together, and thus making sense of what she's learning, as we did in TikTok. we move slowly and we connect the pieces smoothly, okay, between them, and finally we see that we come up with the meaning, that the whole rhythm. And also sequencing, that was a structure. The last question. To what extent you can see the importance of S domain? To what extent do you feel that the importance of the sequence domain or S domain? Yes? Ganeem?
Because I've seen that after structuring, then you need to divide your topic into pieces to make the topic easy for the student.
Okay.
These divided topics or pieces should be related. They should be related.
Okay.
So that one makes the teaching activities easier to both teacher and student.
Very good, thank you. Thank you very much. Another one? Yes, Khalid?
Yeah, it also makes the learners comfortable during the learning process. This way we have seen it in a repetition without boredom. Yeah, that's we can design some rhythms or patterns which are comfortable with learners.
Thank you very much. Another one? Yes, Rama?
Also, repetition makes things possible, because when we see before when we practice TikTok, we thought that it was not possible, and we thought we can't. But after making repetition, then at the end, we know that so it is possible.
Yeah. So you see how? Yes, please.
And also, this in sequencing activities, seeing that it motivates the learner to learn more.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Motivate and appreciate the student to learn more. Yeah. So we see how the importance of this domain in the classroom situation. Huh? Have you seen the importance of sequencing domain in the classroom situation? So we have to apply this in our classroom. We've seen that by doing structuring and sequencing. As I've said before, I'm just hammering on that. We always, teachers, just fall in the trap, think that the student have understood the concept. You know, for you it is easy, but for them it is not easy. Mind you, this is a very important point to think about. It's a very important point to think about. That you think the concept, you think the issue is very easy for you, and the same as for student. No, it is not the same. So you have to find the way to understand, meaning to reach the point that every student have understood the concept very well. By doing what? By structuring and sequencing the repetition without boredom and linking and summarizing. I have said a lot about the domain sequencing. Then we just come to, and later on we'll just give you some notes concerning this domain. So let us stand up. Let us stand up and if you can just think a new techniques for applying a TikTok together as a team. Just a new way. Anyone? Do you have any way of doing this TikTok? Please, why are you quiet? Yes.
I think the one we used before is the best.
Yeah. The one we used before are the best one. That is the technique of teaching. Is it? We don't have any more techniques, so we can just use, as we said before, slowly, repeated, and linking and summarizing. Thank you very much. I think you have got the importance of the domain sequencing with the real situation of the classroom. As a teacher, we hope you are going to apply. Is it?
Yes.
Okay. After getting this or knowing the domain sequencing, how do you feel? How do you feel now as a teacher? Let's start from which hand? Should I start? NSI. Okay, let me start here. How do you feel, Khalid? After getting this?
Yeah, after getting this, I feel like I'm eager to practice this in the class.
Okay.
Because I've seen it, its methods
Yeah.
are much simpler
Uh-huh.
than those methods which I use. So I
Thank
think
you.
I will implement it.
Thank you very
in the
much.
class.
Thank you very much. That's a change you want. Yes, Mr.
Now,
Amin?
myself, I say this is the best teaching method.
Yeah.
I'm going to apply it because it will make the learning process and teaching easy.
Thank you very much. Yes, Mr. Ramadan?
For myself, I feel better
Uh-huh.
because I got something new
Yes.
that I was not knowing before.
Yeah.
So it's better for me, and I'm sure I will introduce to my class, and I will implement, and then my students will practice more, and then they will be better.
Very good. Thank you very much. Yes, Madam?
Myself, I feel better.
Yes.
Inshallah, I'll practice it
Okay.
so that my student will be comfortable in play.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. That's great. Great to hear that you want to change. And this is, we call a new education era. Now we have to change. This is a new education era. If we want to impart attitude instead of knowledge, I mean, we should make sure that our students, they are going to change. Not only performance, but much in their attitude. By using this framework of FIRST, and by using this domain, surely we can bring changes, inshallah. Thank you very much.